Let me ask you something. What do you do when someone disrespects you? When someone crosses the line, says something sly, throws a jab at your dignity? Do you react? Most people do. They lash out, they defend, they argue, and in doing so they fall right into the trap of giving away their power. But you're here because you're not like most people. You want to master yourself. And that journey begins with one brutal truth. Reacting to disrespect is the easiest way to prove you've lost control. The real strength, unshakable, untouchable strength, is in staying silent. It's in refusing to give someone the satisfaction of seeing you disturbed. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. It unsettles the manipulator. It confuses the narcissist. It burns the insecure. Because they feed on your reaction, and when you give them nothing, they choke on their own need for control. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." The moment you retaliate, you become like them. But when you rise above, when you stay composed, when you master the art of saying nothing, you reclaim your power, you shift the balance, you take control, not just of the moment, but of yourself. That's not just Stoicism, that's psychological dominance. That's emotional warfare waged with silence. And the best part? It leaves them wondering. Your silence becomes a mirror. They see their own reflection, their own flaws, and they hate it. They expect a fight. You give them a void. And that void? It echoes louder than any words ever could. Welcome to Stoic Wind. In this video, I'll show you exactly why staying quiet after disrespect is the ultimate power move, grounded in Stoicism, reinforced by dark psychology, and made for warriors like you. If you're ready to own your silence, comment this below. My silence is my power. Now let's begin. Every time someone disrespects you and you react, you hand them your power like it's nothing. Think about that. You've spent years building your strength, your discipline, your self-restraint, and in just 5 seconds, with one emotional outburst, you give it all away. That's the real cost of reacting. You don't just lose your temper, you lose your value in their eyes. You lose leverage, and worst of all, you lose yourself. But here's the deeper truth no one tells you. People will test you on purpose, not to see if you'll fight, but to see how easily they can provoke you. The moment you respond, you expose yourself. That's how manipulators choose their victims. That's how narcissists pick their targets. And that's exactly why silence is your sword. When you stay quiet, you become unreadable, unshakable. Stoic legends like Marcus Aurelius weren't silent because they were afraid. They were silent because they had mastered themselves. In a world full of noise, your silence becomes sacred. It makes you rare. It makes you unforgettable. Now listen closely. If you've ever felt disrespected, underestimated, or provoked, this video is going to flip the way you respond forever. But this is just the beginning. The rest of this video will show you the exact tools and psychological techniques used by Stoics and high-level thinkers to dominate situations without ever raising their voice. If you want to be that person, the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, then stay with me till the very end. It's time you stop being a slave to reactions and start becoming a master of restraint. And if this message already hit something deep inside you, like this video, comment, silence over reaction, power over ego. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because Stoic Wind is not just a channel, it's a mindset. A new video drops soon, and if you miss it, you miss a step in becoming untouchable. Let's move forward. Section 3 is where things get real. What the Stoics did differently, and why it worked. The world today teaches you to fight fire with fire, to clap back, to be loud, to be aggressive, but the ancient Stoics, they flipped the script. They weren't just wise philosophers, they were tacticians of the human soul. When insulted, they didn't retaliate. When challenged, they didn't react. They remained calm, controlled, and devastatingly composed. Why? Because they understood something most people never will. True power lies in mastering yourself, not others. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world. He could have crushed his enemies with a word, but instead he wrote in his journal, "When someone does wrong, it's because they believe it's right." It's not your job to hate them, it's your job to remain unaffected. Imagine that mindset, the ability to be surrounded by chaos, insult, betrayal, and still remain calm like still water. That's not weakness. That's God-level self-retreat. Epictetus, born a slave, rose to become one of the greatest Stoic teachers. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." The Stoics believed that everything external, insults, disrespect, betrayal, was outside your control. But your response, your emotions, your silence, that was your domain, and they guarded it like warriors. And here's what makes their strategy so powerful today. In a world driven by ego, attention, and noise, Stoic silence is rebellion. It disrupts, it stuns, it exposes the weakness in those who rely on noise to feel important. If you're watching this right now, you're not here by accident. You're meant to learn this. You're meant to walk this path. Draw your silence is my power. Let that phrase anchor you every time someone tries to drag you into their storm. And if you haven't liked the video yet, pause and do it now. Subscribe, because the next section is where we break down the dark psychology behind why your silence destroys manipulators from within. Let's go deeper now, because silence isn't just wise, it's psychologically unsettling. It plays on the hidden fears of manipulators, narcissists, and insecure minds. Most people don't realize this, but when you remain calm after being disrespected, you're activating one of the most powerful psychological weapons known to human behavior: uncertainty. It's mental torture for the weak-minded. You see, people who disrespect you expect a predictable reaction: anger, rage, defense, something they can feed off, something they can control. But when you go silent, they are left alone with themselves. Their insult hangs in the air unanswered. No fuel, no fire, no reaction. And suddenly they begin to spiral. They start wondering, did you not hear them? Did you not care? Are you planning something? That confusion eats them alive. Dark psychology teaches us this. When you remove expected stimuli from a toxic person's cycle, they lose their grip. You become unreadable. And unreadable people are the most terrifying, because if they can't figure you out, they can't control you. That's why silence works, not just as a response. Stoics didn't just stay silent to seem noble. They stayed silent because it gave them the upper hand. It made others question themselves. It made others reveal their true character, while the Stoics simply observed, learnt, and stayed in control. If this resonates with you, drop it in the comments right now. Unreadable, unshakable, untouchable. Write it down. Own it. That's who you become when you choose silence over chaos. And if you're feeling this message, like this video now. Subscribe to Stoic Wind, because this isn't just a one-time mindset, it's a way of living. The rest of this video will teach you how to sharpen that silence into an unstoppable force. Every word you speak in anger, every rant, every clapback, every moment you try to defend your ego in the heat of disrespect is power leaking out of you, slowly, permanently. That's what most people don't understand. In their desperate need to be heard, to prove themselves, to show they're not weak. They end up bleeding control. And the worst part? The more you speak, the more predictable you become. And the more predictable you are, the easier it is to manipulate you. Now listen closely, because this is where Stoicism and dark psychology collide. In Stoicism, self-restraint is sacred. It's the armor that shields you from the chaos of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. That means you own the right to say nothing, to offer no emotional reaction, to stay completely still while the world tries to shake you. That's not passive. That's power, pure, lethal power." And from a psychological perspective, silence disrupts expectation. The moment you speak, your enemy reads you, your tone, your fear, your insecurity. But when you stay silent, you give them nothing. You deny them the map to your mind. You become impossible to predict, impossible to control. You become a ghost present, but untouchable. The great strategist Sun Tzu said, "If you are far, make them believe you are near. If you are near, make them believe you are far." Silence is the modern version of that tactic. It's deception through stillness. It's presence without exposure. When you speak only when necessary, your words carry weight. They hit harder. They cut deeper. Because they're rare. If you're beginning to feel the shift, if this video is opening your eyes, pause for a second. Like this video right now to keep the message moving. Delimit this below if you're stepping into your power. Every word I save, I store power. Every word I save, I store power. Subscribe now to Stoic Wind, because the next section will teach you how silence activates something even deeper, karma itself. There's a quiet force in this universe that doesn't need your help, your voice, or your revenge. It's called karma. And the most brutal part? It works best when you say absolutely nothing. That's the mistake people make. They try to force justice. They try to get even. They try to make someone feel the same pain they felt. But karma doesn't need your hands. It only needs your absence. When someone disrespects you and you stay silent, that's when the clock starts ticking. You see, when you don't react, you deny the other person any justification for what they did. They can't tell themselves you're crazy. They can't make you the villain. They're left alone with their actions. And that's where karma does its finest work. It forces them to sit with the weight of what they did, to watch your silence grow into success, strength, and unbothered peace. And that peace, it haunts them because they expected chaos. But you gave them stillness. Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control. And revenge, that's one of those things. Epictetus said, "Is someone speaking badly of you? They are only reporting their own opinion, not fact. It is they who are harmed, not you. Understand this. By remaining silent, you're not losing the battle. You're handing it over to something far more relentless than rage. You're handing it to the universe itself. And here's the twist. Karma doesn't just punish them, it rewards you. Every time you choose stillness over revenge, every time you walk away instead of exploding, you evolve, you level up, and life meets you at that higher place. You're ready to let the universe fight your battles. Comment this now. Silence is my justice. Karma is my ally. Say it again. Silence is my justice. Karma is my ally. And if this hits deep, hit the like button. Subscribe to Stoic Wind, because the next section will teach you something even more dangerous. How to win without a single word. There is a kind of revenge that makes no noise. It doesn't scream. It doesn't throw punches. It doesn't even raise its voice. It just wins. Silently. That's what I call the invisible comeback, and it's the most devastating form of payback in existence, because while they're still gossiping, mocking, and hoping you'll break, The people who tried to provoke you, the ones who disrespected you, they want an audience. They want a scene. But when you say nothing, you steal the stage. You cut the cord on their performance. And while they're stuck in their petty drama, you move on, quietly, powerfully, until one day they're forced to watch you succeed from a distance they can no longer reach. Marcus Aurelius never marched into the streets to scream about betrayal. He built an empire with discipline. He defeated chaos with poise. And the greatest Stoics knew that the most effective comeback was not proving others wrong through words. It was proving them irrelevant through transformation. Now here's where dark psychology comes back in. People expect confrontation. They expect arguments. When they get nothing, they panic. Your progress becomes their punishment. Your peace becomes their pain. Because now they know they never had power over you. Not then, not now. And here's what you must remember. You do not owe them a reaction. You owe yourself growth. You owe yourself elevation. You owe yourself silence so powerful it echoes through your results. If you're walking this path now, type this in the comments. I rise in silence. My growth is my revenge. Say it again. I rise in silence. My growth is my revenge. Like this video, if you felt this shift in your soul, listen to Stoic Wind and turn on notifications, because every video here is a step deeper into your power. Your emotions are not the enemy. Your reaction to them is. Most people think emotional control is about becoming numb or cold, but that's not what Stoicism teaches. True emotional strength is like a muscle. It doesn't eliminate emotion, it disciplines it. It builds the ability to feel fully. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for chaos to test his peace. He practiced detachment in advance. He would write each morning, preparing his mind for insults, betrayal, rudeness, and loss. Why? Because foreseen pain hits softer. Epictetus taught his students to imagine losing what they loved most, not to become bitter, but to build emotional armor. So when life did strike, they stood unshaken. You don't wait until you're drowning to learn how to swim, and you don't wait until disrespect hits to build your inner calm. You want to know how to stay quiet after someone disrespects you? Practice the pause. Every day. When someone irritates you online, pause. When your ego wants to defend itself, pause. When you're triggered by something stupid, pause. That pause is your mental gym. Every second you choose not to react is another rep for your emotional muscle. And here's the power in this. The more you master your emotions, the less they can be used against you. You stop being a puppet pulled by anger and become the puppeteer of your own inner world. That's the Stoic way. That's the path to becoming untouchable, not because you're emotionless, but because you're emotionally indestructible. If you're training your mind like this, drop a comment now. I train my silence like a weapon. Say it again. I train my silence like a weapon. And if this has been helping you, just listen, like this video, subscribe to Stoic Wind, and turn on the bell. Every week we drop more tools to sharpen your mindset. Walk into any room and stay completely silent for the first minute. Say nothing. Just observe. Watch what happens. People will begin to shift. Some will get nervous. Others will try harder to impress you. A few might even feel intimidated. Why? Because silence creates presence. It's rare, it's powerful, and it destructs the usual power dynamics. In a world where everyone wants to be seen and heard, the one who speaks least often controls the most attention. Stoicism gives you the foundation, but dark psychology shows you how to use it strategically. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you react less, your presence commands more respect. People don't fear loud voices. They fear the quiet ones they can't read. Because silence forces others to fill in the blanks. and most people project their own fears and insecurities onto that silence. That's where your power multiplies, not by being loud, but by being unreadable. Remember this: the person who remains calm in conflict becomes the center of the room. They become the anchor. Everyone else orbits around their energy. That's how you create gravity, through restraint. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The ones who really hold power never shout it. They walk in it, quietly, consistently, unshakably. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world, yet wrote in his journal every night, not for the world, but for himself. That's power, silent, disciplined, grounded, and when you embody that energy in social settings, people feel it. You don't even need to demand respect. It's given. So if you're ready to stop chasing attention and start radiating presence, comment this below. My silence speaks before I do. Say it again. My silence speaks before I do. Like the video if you feel this truth. Subscribe to Stoic Wind, because we don't just talk philosophy here. We live it. One mindset shift at a time. So here we are. You've walked through silence, but as power. You've seen how the Stoics trained their minds like warriors. You've felt how dark psychology flips the game, how saying nothing can say everything. Now, let me leave you with this final reflection. Every time you stay silent after disrespect, you make a choice not to lower yourself, a choice to rise above, a choice to stay in control when others would lose their minds. That choice doesn't just change the moment, it changes you. It rewires your identity. You go from being reactive to being respected, from being triggered to being trusted by your future self. Silence, my friend, is no longer just a reaction. It's your discipline, your strategy, your weapon. The world is loud, chaotic, full of people shouting to be heard. But the most powerful men and women in history, they were calm, focused, quietly building, quietly dominating, quietly winning. That's what Stoic Wind is all about. This channel isn't just content, it's transformation. If this video lit a fire inside you, if it made you look at yourself differently, then don't just walk away. Like this video right now. If you're choosing silence over reaction, celebrate one last time. I don't respond to noise. I respond with growth. Let it be a declaration, a signal to yourself, and to anyone watching you level up. Subscribe to Stoic Wind now and turn on notifications, because this is only the beginning. Every week we go deeper into self-mastery, into mind control, into the silence that reshapes your entire life. And if you've made it this far, let me say this: you're part of the few who choose growth over ego, peace over chaos, silence over noise. Your power. Go live it.